Welcome to Design Around the World. I'm Carina Gardner, and today we're at the RIJKSMUSEUM in Amsterdam.
Today we're walking through this beautiful museum to look at the amazing works by many of the Dutch masters. I highly recommend you check out this museum if you are in the Amsterdam area because the artwork is not only beautiful, but the architecture is as well. Today I'm showcasing some of the paintings I really loved or found interesting. It is definitely a highlight reel of what I liked, so if you've been and you want to tell me what you liked, please tell me in the comments so I can make sure and not miss it the next time I go. Oh, and by the way, if you've not subscribed to the channel, I do lots of Design Around the World videos, and you can catch more episodes I've done in many of the places I've been. So let's start with Van Gogh. There is a Van Gogh museum in Amsterdam that I didn't make it to this time, but there are a few Van Goghs that are directly here in this museum. In particular, there is a self-portrait of Van Gogh from 1886 when he heard about Paris's new colorful style of French painting. He made several self-portraits to avoid having to pay a model. He clearly showed his love of color in this painting he did called Wheatfield. Near these paintings, I noticed this colorful piece by Isaac Israels. He created Shop Window in 1894, where a couple look at children's apparel in a shop window. All the dresses are neatly arranged by color, creating diagonal strokes of red, light blue, and white. I'm a huge fan of this piece by Teresa Schwartz, who was a highly successful portrait artist. It was unconventional for a female to pursue this type of career during the late 19th century, which makes me love it even more. This portrait was painted around 1884 to 1885. How much do I love this spot of red on the sleeve of this portrait? Well, a lot. It's gorgeous. We walked into a room that had really cool patterns and dioramas. These were really impressive as there were so many details and everything was so tiny. Oh yeah, and then there was this really big diamond that we all agreed would be the best thing to take home. Then I managed to walk into a photography room. Check out this print plate by Edward Blades from 1875. Or this set of prints created by Charles Negre. As I moved on from photography, I found this room with the most beautiful hand-painted vases and furniture, which of course took me to more paintings. This room was full of romantic paintings like this forest scene by Kokek. He was a landscape painter that specialized in splendid panoramas of valleys and forests with majestic trees. This painting was made in 1849. This huge painting was painted by Kruseman in 1833 and is a portrait of Alda Asnick. I don't think I said her name right, but there you have it. She was 23 years old when this was commissioned. This rule setting with a hunting dog and garden vase harks back to the English portrait style, which Kruseman admired. I was quite enchanted by this oil by Djulgerhuis. Amsterdam's cultural elite met up in this book and print shop. The painter was also an actor, and you'll see that he made the interior of the shop look a little bit like a stage set with a city view behind it. I also love this painting partially because of the story behind it. This was painted by Thomas Lawrence between 1810 and 1818. It is of Maria Matilda Bingham with two of her children. In this portrait, the father, Henry Baring, is not in it. Judging by the direction of the gaze of Maria and her son, he might have stood on the left. You rarely hear of this happening in the 1800s, but Maria divorced her husband and then had the painting reduced on that side. And it appears that a curtain was painted partially in that spot to complete the composition. As a designer, I couldn't help but show you this pianoforte with this beautiful design on the inside. Or how about this huge model ship that has been placed in the middle of the room? I absolutely love it when museums do this instead of keeping the room empty because it makes everything so much more interesting. Speaking of ships, I loved all of these lovely high-detailed black and white drawings of ships. Absolutely stunning. Biblical references are always found in museums, and this one was no different. This is Paul Healing a Man Who Could Not Walk by Carol du Jardin. It was painted in 1663 and was inspired by the Apostle Paul. Before we head into the Rijksmuseum's Art Historical Library, I just wanted to remind you that if you love this video, to check out my other Design Around the World videos and subscribe to the channel. Okay, here we go into the largest art historical library in the Netherlands. Yes, this is a working library, and there are people actually down in the bottom working. It was completed in 1881 with its main characteristic feature being its brick, red, and gold polychrome cast iron colonnettes. The walls are decorated with painted foliage. You'll also notice a cast iron spiral staircase which connects the galleries and draws your gaze upward. As I walked out, I ran into some really beautiful details, including this glass vase with a leaf pattern and then this oversized dollhouse. This dollhouse was so intricate that there was a painting to go with it. I stood in line so that I could get some video of all of these precious details. Check out the moldings on the walls and the ceilings, the tiny furniture, and all of the beautiful little pieces like cushions, paintings, ruffles, and murals. There was dishware and tile, and every room was so brilliantly created. How about this fabulous area showcasing lots of beautiful surface pattern designs? I love museums because they can be truly inspirational to designers and artists in their own work. Every piece is detailed, beautiful, and you can tell the artisans spent so much love and time working on each of them. I found myself drawn to paintings of birds and flowers, so let's talk about a few of these. This is called The Floating Feather by de Hotenkouter, painted in 1680. He made this regal bird scene for Het Loo, the palace of William and Mary. It features a pelican in the foreground, a causeway behind it at the left, a flamingo, and a black-crowned crane. Water birds congregate in and around a basin, and a feather floats on the water's surface. I also adore this fantastical scene with mushrooms, foliage, and birds, as well as these more simple pieces of fruit. And if you like the bird painting, check out this interesting goose painting in an active stance versus that static pose of the last group. I said I like flowers, and I was pleased to find this painting by Rachel Rouche, created between 1690 and 1720. She was the most famous female artist of her time. Her florals attracted the attention of wealthy patrons. She was even appointed as a court painter for a German principality. You know what else? She had 10 children and continued to work during childbearing years and signed her paintings with her own name. Gotta love that. This floral by Balthasar van der Ast was painted between 1625 to 1630. The artist first made a detailed drawing on the prepared panel before beginning to paint. We know this because over time some of the pigments have become transparent, allowing the underdrawing to show through. Hey, and it wouldn't be the Netherlands without a portrait of tulips. This one by Jacob Marl was painted in 1634. Tulip bulbs were collected fanatically in 17th century Holland, and astronomical prices were sometimes paid for a single bulb. Here's a piece many of you will recognize. I play Animal Crossings on the Nintendo Switch with my kids, and you can buy art pieces in the game, and guess what? This is one of them. The Milkmaid by Johannes Vermeer was painted in 1660. A maidservant pours milk, entirely absorbed in her work. Except for the stream of milk, everything else is still. Vermeer took this simple everyday activity and made it the subject of an impressive painting. And you can see that I struggled to get a shot of this because so many people were huddled around this painting. Should I tell them they can just buy one on Animal Crossings? I should mention a game I started playing a few years back with my kids at museums. My oldest daughter, Siri, and I were in Paris, and we started taking pictures of all the cats that ended up in paintings and sent them to my other daughter. This game has also turned into taking photos of dogs, and this is why I took photos and videos of some of the cats and dogs in the museum. More amazing surface patterns and some portraits that you should not miss if you come into the museum. There are also interesting everyday but extraordinary pieces displayed here, like this box of interesting objects. Oh, and have I even mentioned Rembrandt? Yep, he has a room dedicated to his artwork here. Rembrandt learned the rudiments of his craft from Jacob van Swanenburg. Later, he moved to Amsterdam to learn and work from the studio of Peter Lasman. The The decision speaks volumes about the young Rembrandt's ambition. Lasman was one of the leading history painters in the northern Netherlands. After Rembrandt settled permanently in Amsterdam in 1631, he soon became a highly sought-after portraitist. Another source of income was from numerous pupils who flocked to him who paid a tuition. Many of these pupils went on to become successful painters in their own right. Two other games I think is extremely fun to play in a museum is picking out the best looking guy in a painting or series of paintings. And this game is harder than it looks. Or this game, trying to see if you can spot a celebrity look-alike. I think the guy all the way to the right kind of looks like Christian Bale. What do you think? Finally, as we headed out, I found out just a couple of days before that one of my design suite members was also in Amsterdam. So we did the quickest meetup in front of the gift shop. Det, it was so fun to see you. And that was my day at the Rijksmuseum. Did you like it? And if you did, tell me in the comments so I can keep visiting museums to share with you on my channel. And if you want more design around the world, be sure to subscribe to the channel to explore more design with me.